physically feel like Kobe, I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats, circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready? Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I am Mr. Bennett, joined by my partners as always, Brother Shawnee from H-Town, currently living in the DFW area, and our guy, the coach from that great state of Kentucky, in the building tonight. I'm missing our guy, Dante. Dante taking care of biz tonight, so again, hopefully everything is well. I'm sure we'll be hearing from you in the chat, but certainly as you guys come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button as you come in. Certainly helps the show, and certainly anything that you want to contribute to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, you can certainly contribute here via Cash App or a Super Chat. And again, anything that you want to give to us personally, here are our Cash App scrolling at the bottom of the screen, and so you can give there as well. But good to have you guys with us tonight. Lots of things going on in MLB playoffs have started, so I definitely want to take the temperature of Shawnee, because I know Shawnee is you typically used to having the Astros as part of the mix, so it must be kind of strange for you that Houston's not making any noise this postseason. So and I know we haven't talked about baseball a lot, but your thoughts on the season, what went wrong this year with the Astros, and is this something that's going to be a quick fix next year, or are you in for some slim days ahead?
No, the main thing that happened to the Astros this year was just injuries. Injuries devastated this team. I can't remember if it's 100% true, or maybe it was just a random post on the internet, but I saw something like the Astros this season probably was the most injured team in MLB history. They was losing everybody. So it was one point, especially before the trade deadline, we had a lot of AAA players on the squad, and then it didn't help when our best hitter Alvarez, he got hurt when they was making that closing run, because he stepped on home plate and rolled his ankle, so he was out for the rest of the season. So yeah, it was just a bad season. We lost our closer like pretty much right after the trade deadline. So it was just, that was the main thing that happened with the Astros this year. Next year when they come, I think they'll be a playoff team next year. But yeah, they had a good run for a decade, nearly a decade. So hey, if it was injuries that took us out, it happens to every team, so.
I got you. And Coach, how are you doing tonight, sir? What's going on with you?
What's up, Brother Bennett? What's up, Shawnee? How you doing, man?
What's up,
man? I'm excited, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, we got, it's always good when you have the, NFL is hot action, pretty much every week. But now you got the playoffs, which I admit I've been very lax in my following of the New York Yankees this year, but we'll get into that a little bit tonight as well. But, playoff time is when I kind of get caught up on some things. And so, we're going to talk about, some of that tonight as well. But yeah, let's get into this. Obviously, we're in the thick of it. So essentially one quarter of the NFL season has already been played. And currently these are the standings that we see so far. So, certainly with Pittsburgh, I'm happy about them being in first place. It seems like, certainly the rest of the division seems to be in somewhat of turmoil. Cleveland, I know they're moving away from the old guy starting at QB, so they're going to start the Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, but they're moving away from there. Baltimore, Lamar's hurt. We already know about Cincinnati. It seems like their quarterback is always hurt. So we're going into a bye week in Pittsburgh, number one seed, in the division. Buffalo Bills, it seems like they're being the typical Bills, and the New York Jets are the typical Jets. So, I think the surprise for me so far has been Indianapolis, and they had a chance to win that game the other night. We're going to talk about that as well, how they just totally fudged that. But fairly predictable, across the board in terms of the standings. KC, they seem like they might have righted the ship. No surprise for me, certainly in the NFC East, with the Eagles obviously being number one, Tampa Bay, Detroit, and surprisingly San Francisco, despite the fact that they've had the injuries that they've had, obviously, to Brock Purdy and certainly, but they're still hanging in there tough at near the top of the division. Very competitive division so far in the NFC West. But what are your early takeaways, gentlemen, so far, again, from this? What team has surprised you so far in a positive way? What teams have you think may have underperformed up to this point? What just from this sort of survey of the landscape, what are your big takeaways so far? And sorry to BMU, we always see the Saints at 0-4. So you guys are racing to the number one pick for next year. So sorry about that, sir. But what's your take, Shawnee, so far on what we're seeing in the NFL, just from a high level view?
Both of mine come in the AFC South. The most surprising team is the Colts, in particular the way that their QB, Daniel Jones, he's just coming in there.
Unbelievable.
And it makes you look at the Giants in some type of way because they were, like you mentioned, they were 3-0, and they have a strong chance to be 4-0 versus a good, the Rams. But it was some late plays, in particular one bonehead play. I don't know how the receiver.
We'll talk about that. That's coming up.
I don't know. I don't know why you keep seeing that. Now you're seeing it at the NFL level. But they're a good team. They're a good team, and by far my most disappointing team right now, because all the other teams that are disappointing, you kind of figure that Saints, they don't really have a quarterback yet. Jets, Cleveland, no quarterback yet. But my Texans, that 1-3, and they finally showed some offense in the last game, basically, and hell, because they beat the team that's right below them, 0-4, who's not showing anything right now. Titans are just like slums. But Texans offense, they just look bad. They just look bad. So those are my surprising and then my most disappointing as of now. But like I say, it's only the first quarter of the season. Still plenty of time to turn this thing around. Gotcha.
Coach, your reflections on this first quarter, so to speak, of the NFL season. Again, what teams have surprised you the most? What teams have disappointed you so far this year?
I'm going to start where Shawnee ended. Right now, like you said, the first quarter, all of these teams are still in the playoff hunt. Every team, right? But,
I don't know. Tennessee, and New Orleans.
But it doesn't matter. They still in the playoff hunt, though.
I don't think there has there been a team that started out 0-4 that's made the playoffs. I don't think that's
I don't know, but this is a new age of football. I mean, they could win because even in their division, it's not that strong. Tampa Bay, okay, but Baker Mayfield, he has to. If he wins out, then yes, Tampa Bay clearly the best. But yeah, that's the way I look at it. But my most disappointing, of course, is Baltimore. Just because I'm watching Lamar, man. He's been playing reckless, down the stretch, even though they got the top. My surprising in a good way would be Indy. Because Daniel Jones, we saw what he did in the Giants. But to the Giants, it's the coach. I've been saying that since they hired him out this rookie year. It's the coach. You see what he's done now. He's back to the backup. They're going to lose some more because the coach is no good. The head coach got to go. Everybody else is having injuries. Teams like Philadelphia, and I'll just end it right here. That goes to show y'all how good they are. I don't know if y'all understand football like that, but a team that can be winning and dominating, even when their offense is probably in the last 10, bottom 10, and you still winning, when the offense get to rolling, they're going to be unstoppable. I think it's going to come down to them in Buffalo right now. Buffalo and Pittsburgh go be the strongest teams in the AFC in the end if Rodgers stay healthy. Everybody else, they're in a dogfight to the end. Everybody else is in a dogfight. But as far as Philadelphia, I don't see any team beating them right now. They may lose maybe in the 10th, 12th game. Buffalo, Josh Allen stay healthy. I can see them winning out. I close to it. Pittsburgh it's gonna come down to, do they play this year? Pittsburgh and Buffalo?
I'd have to look at the schedule. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's on the docket this year, but I can. Well, actually, no. Well, I know we played the Jets. So if the AFC East is on the schedule, then yeah, we will play them. I just need to pull up the schedule real quick. But yeah, that can certainly be, certainly have conference implications in terms of who may get the number 1 and number 2 seed. Because right now, I'm looking at certainly those two. Kansas City, again, is this a sign of them being hot, or is Baltimore, are they in the basement right now? And I tend to side on the latter because I've never seen a Ravens team give up this many points this early in the season. They're basically what Cincinnati was last year. They put up some points.
They were bad last year. They were struggling last year as well.
But they weren't giving up like this. I mean, yes, especially when you talk about the historic nature of the franchise. I've never seen this defense this porous, knowing the lineage that team has had over the last 20 years. So, so that's definitely surprising. To me, the other big stand is Jacksonville, because we were ready certainly to write off their QB last year. Trevor Lawrence maybe wasn't a guy, but they're playing tough. That new coach down there, he has those guys playing well. I think they'll certainly be very competitive with Indianapolis this year. So definitely they are definitely on the on the radar. And I'm also following just very closely the NFC North, because I know Detroit, they seem to be sort of rebounding, but I think Green Bay, even though they had the tie against Dallas, we'll talk about that. But Chicago's won 2 in a row, and we'll see. I think that's going to be a tightly contested division. That's the one I think to watch. I think so we just have to hang on. But I'm very interested, certainly in the NFC North going forward. And as far as Washington, I think Jaden Daniels, I think he's supposed to be getting his comeback this starting week. So we'll see if they can certainly turn that around. But Philadelphia seems to be, again, the class of the NFC so far. So we're just going to,
I'll put it like this: November 16th. I know that's a month and a half away, but that's going to be a key game, because Philly, they 4-0. They finding ways to win because they getting versus Dallas. If CeeDee Lamb will catch the ball, Dallas had a good chance of winning that game.
Oh my God.
Rams, they was driving on them. Now CeeDee Lamb, he cost them that one.
Yeah, but Sonny, the fact that they win in their offense, is struggling. That's a lot about the team to me.
No, their offense wasn't struggling that game.
I'm just saying, out of the 4 games, they still in the bottom. It says a lot.
Well, they play Detroit on the 16th of November. Detroit, forget game 1. Forget game 1 of Detroit. They last 3 games, they've been dominant. That offense, somebody woke them up. And I guess Green Bay, when they beat them in game 1, because it was an ugly loss, they woke up Detroit, and they look like a monster. Mm-hmm. So Philly, they're playing good because a couple of their wins was given to them by these special teams, because they were getting field goal blocks and punt blocks versus Tampa Bay.
That's why they got the best team.
But Detroit, right now, I think right now Detroit, even though Buffalo is 4-0, Detroit right now looks like the scariest team. Because, like I say, forget game 1. The next 3 games, they flat out dominated their teams. Mm-hmm. And so I know that's a whole month and a half away for Detroit and Philly. But it's that team right now. I see Philadelphia's 4-0, but Detroit right now is the scariest team in the NFC. The way they're looking, because it's like I say, that first game they lost, it woke up a demon in them, and next thing you know, they went dominated 3 straight games.
Yeah, and I know just to answer Coach's point, yes, we do play the Bills on November 30th. So certainly that's coming up. But we also have the NFC North on our schedule. So we're going to play Detroit, Green Bay. We already just played Minnesota in Ireland, Chicago. So so again, it's going to get just like last year, the latter half of the year, that second half of the schedule. We got the Chargers. We got, like I said, the Bills. Baltimore is always just tough. We got those guys twice, and again we got Detroit. So just like last year, it may come off. I'm hoping that we can get to at least 6-2. before we start that stretch, and then just try to ride it out and try to win up. But definitely now again, Black Man, he's obviously saying he wants the Saints to lose every game for giving up on Shador. The fact that now the Cleveland has gone to again Dylan Gabriel, should the Saints make a play and be like, what do you want for Shador? Apparently Cleveland never wanted him. So do you think that's a possibility that they may make a play for a Shador Sanders to come to the Saints?
I think it could be like when they were the Redskins, when they had RG3 and Kirk Cousins, and I think they end up losing Cousins to free agency, but I don't think Shador's going to start this year. It's going to be Gabriel's team. They got to see what they have in him and say what they say. Because from what I've heard, Stefanski wanted Gabriel. Their is it Barry? Their GM wanted Sanders. So that was the thing right there. But I'll give the nod to Stefanski because he is a 2-time coach of the year. So he knows what he's doing, up there. But if you gonna name Gabriel your starter, okay, get some picks for Sanders, make it worth, And Saints, they can definitely use a young prospect. The whole thing about Sanders, we still really don't know how he'll be in the NFL. Because he played one preseason game, and then the last image of preseason game he had, it was not that well. And then the Browns, they don't let him practice with the first team.
Yes, son, but that still doesn't make a difference though. Even if he hasn't shown like NFL, he's shown enough. We've seen enough in the one game that he had success. Look at the starters now. A lot of starters in the NFL didn't have success in preseason. And he's shown that he has the ability to make an NFL quality quarterback. He's shown it.
So you've seen everything you need to see from.
Plus, he's been a 4-year starter at a college. He's been a 4-year starter. That says a lot. Gabriel, he's a 3rd-round pick. He got to start first. That's just part of the process. It's nothing. Right now, I think he can learn a lot being the backup. They have to put Joe Flacco, just let him just ride the bench and just drink coffee for the rest of the season. Because in order for Cleveland to move forward, they're going to have to let him play. And if they don't want you to do it, yes. I agree, Black Man, send him on down there to New Orleans, and New Orleans are definitely embracing. But Cleveland, no.
Well, actually, again, BMU is actually he has his own conspiracy theory that the idea is they want to lose out so they get the pick so they can get the Manning. So again, you got the grandfather who was a staple, even though he never won anything. He never won anything with New Orleans. But again, you get Arch Manning to play where his granddad played. So again, that certainly could be a possibility as well. Arch's not good.
Arch's not coming up. He gonna stay at UT for another year. He got some stuff to work on.
Yeah, he got some stuff to work on.
And it's mainly throwing the ball, really.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to, before we go on, I didn't have this as a highlight, but I know, obviously the Titans have a rough start so far, being 0-4. Cam Ward is only completing 51% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So, again, not looking very good so far. Do you think this might be a case of, again, too much too soon? Do you think maybe you should have went after a veteran QB, maybe sit him on the bench for a while? I know the Giants certainly moved on from Russell Wilson. Could he be maybe just put a veteran on that team and just have him sit for a while? Or do you think, Coach, this could be too much too soon? And would you consider ruining him? He already made some comments over the past week and over the last performance saying that we ASS. So again, a lot of people weren't happy with that. So is it time? Do you stick with him at this point, or do you need to pull him back and let him learn under someone for a minute? Maybe get a bet in there to take the reins for a while.
No,
Man, I'm sticking with him, man.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with him, man. I mean, the problem with the NFL, man, they trying to make it just a passing league, and that's the problem. Rookies and younger quarterbacks, you got to mix it up. You can't everybody run the same little spread passing out. You can't pass on first downs. If I'm gonna pass on first down, why don't I just hand it off and get a 2-yard run? I'm not gonna throw lottery first down. I'm gonna go and play the yardage game. A lot of people don't really understand that. That's what the NFL is. You drop a rookie back 7 yards, I'm the leading sacker in the game. I'm coming to get him. But that's just part of the growing pains of a quarterback. The ones that can read the defense will be all right. He got to get his arm stronger. This is NFL. So we'll see. He's on a bad team anyway. They got, I don't know what they be doing down there in Tennessee. He's on a bad team. But they going, I don't know, man. Right now, the rookie quarterback class they chose, they sort of just treating them like misfits.
Yeah, I mean, shot the ball again. Jackson Dart had a success, even though he lost Malik Neighbors for the year, which him and Tyreek certainly going out very bad for their teams. Although I don't think Miami was going anywhere with Tua, but certainly the Giants, I think they were very optimistic in starting Jackson Dart. Had a pretty successful debut, even though the cost. So we'll see where it goes from there. But again, Shawnee, your thoughts on this? Again, when do you stay? Do you stay with the rookie despite? Not only the losses, but he really hasn't looked very good in his first 2 games. So
yeah, he got some bad stats, but yeah, no, you stay with him. And what I'm trying to look, but yeah, welcome to the life of Brandon Allen. Yeah, Brandon Allen is the backup quarterback, and it's not like he's knocking on the door to see any playing time. But
right.
Welcome to be the number 1 pick. Your team had the number 1 pick for a reason. They a bad team, and that's just here's your reward. Here's the number 1 pick, and so he's a young player. He had success in Miami that one season. It's growing pains. That's what happened if you a number 1 overall pick and your team decides to make you a starter, knowing that you're on a bad team. Like Titans got holes everywhere. They tried to when they signed, Calvin Ridley, and they brought in Pollard to try to do something from the backfield. It's just not the same. His O-line is getting destroyed, So he's just you're on a bad team. It's no different when David Carr was the first pick of the Texans when they was an expansion team. You're gonna get destroyed. So a lot of times, hopefully that second season. Now, what I do have to say is, you got to show something. Cam Ward, he has, he, like you mentioned, his numbers are bad right now. So hopefully, unless he just hit a switch in his sophomore season. But obviously, on the way they're going right now, the Titans going to have another high draft pick at the end of the season. Maybe they can, get another potential playmaker on the squad, and maybe they can better solidify their roster through free agency, whatever they have to do, and he'll have a better sophomore year. Mm-hmm. Right now, he's just going through growing pains. I mean, NFL is not college. These dudes, you're gonna be happy when you walk across that stage as a number 1 overall pick. And then they're gonna make your life hell as soon as they game that whistle blow for that game to start. Yeah. Because them dudes, it's a different world in the NFL. And especially when you're on a bad team, it's not gonna get no better. So it's just growing pains. Now, was he right showing his frustration on camera? I heard a good point on the radio. Okay, it's understandable that you're showing your frustration on camera, but it's hard when the team also looking at you and you not performing. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm trying to perform, but my team, so it's not like he's throwing his team under the bus, but when I look at you and like, oh, your numbers are terrible right now. Yeah. So it's like we all in the same boat together. It's okay to voice this privately in the locker room, but you also got to be careful what you put on public notice, because you know how stuff will be just taken, We see it as frustration. That's it. We're not making it more than what it is. He's just a frustrated young player. That's all. A frustrated young player.
Right.
But you already know there's some media outlets out there who's going to immediately take it back and ask another Titans player, about his comments or whatnot. And hopefully they all have his back. They understand his frustration. They probably feel the same way. So it's not going to be anything that could potentially grow. This is where your head coach needs to be a head coach and make sure everybody in the locker room has the same mindset. You get behind your young quarterback. But right now, it's just young growing pains, man. It's just young growing pains.
Yeah. And to Trey's point, I mean, he did, in a way, he kind of called himself out as well.
Yeah,
on that. He wasn't just running his team under the bus, but usually in that situation, the PC answer is, look, I got to play better as a quarterback, or whatever. I got to help my team win or whatnot. I mean, that's the typical, boilerplate type of response that a quarterback, usually gives. But you hope that doesn't cause any friction with the vets in the locker room. But again, certainly the team isn't playing well just across the board in all three phases of the game. So they definitely need to fix that. But let's move to the next game highlight this year. So obviously the big matchup, certainly with Green Bay and Dallas. Certainly Green Bay had control of this game early on, and that fourth quarter, it was just a shootout. Literally just down the stretch. So much for the defense, or so much for Micah, certainly making the defensive impact that he wanted to, even without CeeDee Lamb. Pickens, went off, and he showed, I guess, why Jerry went and got him. But this was a hotly contested game. Late in the contest, you had basically. Let me bring this guy back. So basically, I mean, with 2 minutes left, it was 27-30. But within that 2 minutes, it was 37 all. Going into the fourth quarter, and then ultimately, 40-40 tie, certainly in overtime. So you definitely, this game was certainly very high scoring, and then certainly the last play of the game, certainly of the regular season, a 53-yard field goal to send it into overtime, and like I said, it was a 40-40 tie. So again, very entertaining. Certainly, if you like offense in the fourth quarter, because defense simply just couldn't be found. Certainly in that instance. But your thoughts on Micah's return to Dallas and where that just Dallas overall. But I think certainly if CeeDee Lamb gets healthy, team him. We see what the Pickens can do. This could be a very dangerous offense. So your thoughts on the game, Shawnee, and the prospects for Dallas being able to turn this around this year.
Well, one thing I do like what the head coach Schottenheimer is doing to the offense. I'm seeing some wrinkles. I'm seeing some, creativity. He's not going on the land of the Rams, but he's doing a good job of getting his playmakers the ball. And I remember when Schottenheimer was named head coach, he went out and specifically started hiring offensive coaches who have experience establishing the run game, and you can see it. You can see the difference with. And I mentioned, everybody keep talking about with Dak. I kept mentioning Dak will struggle if you do not give him a run game. But if you give him a consistent run game, you will see a productive Dak Prescott. You've seen it. This is his 10th year in the league, and I've been seeing it since he's been in the league. And you seeing how he can operate when he has a run game. You don't need a dominant run game, but his running back, they doing a pretty damn good job back there. And it's just, man, Dak right now, he just has to be in a mindset, man. As soon as he touches the ball, they have to score. That defense is just, and the thing about the game kept depending on the defense to get a stop, and you knew it was going to happen. And the ironic thing about it, because that last drive for the Packers, when they had a fourth down and they converted it, and then at the end of the game, that whole, I don't know what they was trying to do, trying to fit another play, but almost ran the clock out. That's when the Cowboys got a stop, and it was almost lucky because the ball hit them in the back, but it immediately deflected straight to the ground and stopped the clock at 1 second. If it would have deflected up, clock would have ran out. So they finally got to stop, but they got to stop and still left a second on the clock. So it was, I just got tired of, and this the thing, and we saw this, and I was trying to mention to everybody. Everybody kept mentioning how big deal about Micah being traded. I'm like, Micah is a hell of a player, but it's not like Micah's going out there getting 5 sacks every game. There's been times where you don't hear about Micah, and add to the fact that Micah's been dealing with a back issue, which you saw that during the Packers game. He's a game changer, yes, but he's not a consistent game changer as far as he's going to make the big plays when you need it at times. And I'm not even mentioning the fact that you can nullify his contributions to the game if you run his direction. So we see that as Cowboys fans, not trying to say he's a bad player or he's trying to undermine his talent. We know he has a talent, but he's like Madden. His talent that was straight pass rusher, but his rushing defense is like he's so committed about. And I think even at times when he was with the Cowboys, he was kind of, sometimes the defensive coordinator would start having an issue because Michael would kind of take himself out of position at times, or not kind of go with the defensive call because he's so busy trying to get to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Micah. And like I say, now he got this back injury that he may have to kind of nurse the whole season. That's why he's been getting these shots or whatever and during off season.
Mm-hmm.
But he made a big play at the end of the game, though, potentially game, because somebody said maybe it was another defender that was waiting for Dak. I believe Dak probably would have scored. It wasn't for Micah to get that touch. I thought it was just a tackle, but they called it a sack. I didn't know it was behind the line of scrimmage, but that was literally the only play that Micah had all game. And so the game is over with. Media just drilled it to the ground about Micah Parsons. I'm like, man, Micah.
Now, refresh my memory, Shawnee. Were you for the trade or against? I mean, I forget what was your initial when the trade was made.
My whole mindset is because over the years I've literally seen the Cowboys bang their head on the wall, the same exact wall every season, especially when you get to the postseason. And you see where their weakness at, but they do not participate in free agency. They only build their team to the draft. The only time they participate in free agency is if a player was hurt, so they can get them on the cheap. That's it. They don't spend money in free agency. So I'm like, okay, you got this philosophy. This is your philosophy. You don't want to address holes in free agency. You only want to do it in the draft. You always complaining about the cap. Well, you already have 2 top-of-the-market players you're paying right now. And if you're going to add a third, I can just hear Stephen Jones now. Cap. That's all he'll be saying to the Cowboys media down here.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, because I was under the mindset if you rip the Band-Aid off and trade Dak, Lamb, and Parsons, just rebuild with the draft. That's all you're going to do anyway. But you already paid 2 of them. If you trade Parsons and get your first-round picks, which they did, I say, okay, now you can, build your team. Because you eliminated one option to build your team. You don't participate in free agency. You are not the Ravens. You are not the Eagles. They effectively use both scenarios to properly build a team. The Cowboys only do it one way. So you would have signed Parsons, okay, well, all we would have had is 3 notable players, but the rest of the team is trash because all your money is literally on the 3 players.
Yeah, you know that.
So if you trade, I was cool with them trading. I understand how great of a player Parsons can be, but I was cool with them trading him because now you got 2 first-round picks. Now, it's not like they hit 100% on their draft picks, but they are a fairly good drafting team. So this next draft, you got 2 first-round picks. The following draft, you're going to have 2 first-round picks. Okay, we're going to see where it goes. And that was my whole mindset. I was like, I was cool with them trading Parsons because they literally eliminated one aspect of team building. They don't participate. We all saw that when Derrick Henry wanted to come to the Cowboys, but they didn't want to pay him. They just don't pay players from free agency. that whole Brandon Carr thing just screwed them up. They don't want to do that no more. So that's why I was under the mindset, and everybody kept saying, "It's Parsons, it's Parsons, it's Parsons." And clearly, I'm like, okay, you just look at the name. You looking at Parsons, the name. That's it. But you don't pay attention to how that team how they build themselves. And I don't agree with the philosophy. I definitely want them to philosophy to change. But right now, this is how the Jones operate. You choose not to participate in free agency. You only want to do it in the draft. Well, get as much draft picks as you can acquire, because that's the only way you want to do it.
No.
Shout out to I was literally, you literally took the words out of my mouth. So Derek Henry fumbling every week. Jerry's looking real smart again. So yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of people are looking at Jerry a lot differently now, just given how things have turned out. But Coach, your thoughts on the game, and certainly, and really on Pickens, because I mean, again, I mean, he had a great game. I mean, I saw a lot of this potential in Pittsburgh. It was just a matter of him, his attitude. But we'll see what happens when CD returns, if he's going to be the same player. But it's like, he wants to be that dude, that feature guy. And he kind of reminds me a little bit of who's the that last 88 you guys had?
Bryant.
Yeah. So to me, he's got a little Bryant in him, as well. So coach, your thoughts on what you saw?
I mean, I saw a game, man. I saw a good game. As good as they expected. I think with Green Bay, with Mike over there, it makes their defense a lot better. Their offense ain't getting it together, but it makes that even if he doesn't get sacks, he draws a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. That's what you need. And you've seen it within their defense these first 4 games. As long as everybody healthy, I think they'll be okay. Jordan Love got to get it together. He makes some erroneous decisions sometimes with the ball, but I think if their offense get I think they're gonna be tough in the end in the NFC. Jerry Jones, man, he's gonna do what he do. If you get released, he might pick you up. If you come out there and show that you want less money than you trying to get. I mean, he's one of the very few, and he builds through his drive. That's Dallas is. Think about it. The crybaby Dallas fans. I call y'all crybabies because I got lifelong friends being Cowboys. They make all kinds of excuses and blame it on everybody except the Cowboys. He's the only GM owner. So he understands the money. He's counting the money the whole time. So I got to get these little players, and he goes through the draft, and that's cool. He just, right now, I don't know. Getting away from the running game doesn't help any football team in the long run. It doesn't. It looks pretty when the weather's nice, but again, you need to be able to run the ball, and you need to be able to have a quality lineman. The defense for Dallas, as long as they can keep him in the game, Jerry Jones is cool with it. And we see.
Yeah, I think the model he might be going off. He just wants to have an entertaining product, and you can't say just what you saw that other night that you weren't entertained. 40-40 tie or not, you get CD back or whatnot. So again, they may have to put up 40 a game to win, but certainly it will keep eyeballs, and it will keep keep people watching. So I think that's.
I'll tell you the player who made the big difference on this team, and that's Javonte Williams. He has been huge for the Cowboys. Javonte Williams is the reason why Dak can be productive, and they can have a balanced offensive attack. Because he was a free agent, because remember he was out because he had a knee injury, so he was coming from on the cheap. But man, he has been huge for the Cowboys. He's the main reason. You put in some Miles Sanders in the running back, but Javonte Williams is the main reason why the Cowboys offense, and I'm putting hard stop on offense. That defense, Cowboys are number 1 in offense, dead last in defense.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, man. That perfectly points the picture right there.
I heard that. Moving on to another game with a highlight. So again, we talked about this a little bit earlier. So again, the Colts. Before I do that, let me just acknowledge again. Shout out to guy Anton, $5 super chat. Jerry Jones tried so hard not to admit that the Cowboys miss Micah Parsons. I'm not sure if he does. I mean, like I said, I think he has a very entertaining product on the field. He might be building for the future. And again, just given the limited nature of Micah and his skill set, it could very well be that I don't know if he's going to miss him at all. Especially just given this last performance. Want to acknowledge the second super chat. Thank you very much. $10 super chat. I meant what I said last week. Since the Jets are 0-4, I'm not paying them no mind for the rest of the season. My main focus is the Yankees and the Reds. You might want to get off the Yankees because they're not in the best situation as well. So we may talk about that in a little bit. And certainly, from Trey and Cowboys got the Jets and Panthers before they play us. They could be rolling before they play the Commanders. Certainly a good point as well. But let's talk about this game. So obviously, Colts were in commanding position, certainly to win this game, but against some key mistakes at the end of the, towards the end of game one. Obviously, the most glaring is you got the wide receiver for the Colts, easy running in for the touchdown, and he fumbles the ball out of bounds as a touchback. Then on a late play in the fourth quarter, you also had where Colts defense had only 10 guys on the field, which led to that game-winning go-ahead touchdown for Puka Nacua. He didn't have anybody to double team. So again, I think a game at home that you give away here. But we've seen this before. I mean, I remember going all the way back. Sean, you may remember your guy Leon Lett. And that famous, even though Dallas dominated, I think they won that Super Bowl like 52-17 or something like that, some crazy thing like that. But everybody wanted to talk about the Leon Lett play. After that,
they could have scored the most points.
They could have scored. He's running in, he's holding a ball. Don Beebe comes up from behind, swipes the ball away, it goes in for a touchback, and everybody just used to talk about that thing. I don't that might have ruined Leon Lett's career because I don't know if he was ever the same player after that. He was a dominant defensive tackle for them, and it just got out of hand. But here, nobody even touched this guy, and he fumbles the ball out. So again, I'll start with Coach first. I'm sure I don't know if you've experienced this in your coaching career, but guys like to celebrate too soon. Some of the OGs will say, "Look, you score a touchdown, just give the ball back to the ball back to the referee and be on your way or whatnot." But your thoughts on this Colts debacle, and what would you say to this player who made such a critical error in a crucial matchup? That even though they're sitting pretty at 3-1, but like you may have a tightly contested division, and these games are going to matter. So, what were your thoughts on what you saw with this coach, and what would you say to this player? How would you get this guy back on task?
I mean, once the play is done, it's done. But, I was always coached to run to the back of the end zone before you celebrate. So anytime that I was coaching football, you can celebrate, but wait till you get to the back of the end zone, not the front. So, but yeah, this is NFL. They on TV, the camera's in their face, and they see their cell phone on the jumbotron coming across the end zone. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes they get too excited. But once he gets to the sideline, I'll be like, man, that was a stupid play, wasn't it? That's all I could tell him. He'd be like, yeah, but, you might cost us the game and say, now you got to make it up. No more. I mean, what else can you say? He still has to perform. But the Colts, again, man, it's like they playing good team ball. Daniel Jones has finally gotten his groove. So as long as they and what we not giving credit to is Jonathan Taylor. Remember, he was one of the best running backs in the league before he got injured. He was Saquon Barkley before he got injured. So he's back on track. So I don't know, man. We'll see, man.
I think the coach, head coach Shane Steichen, he needs to talk to his team about this pre-fumbling before you cross the line, because it happened in a huge game. It had huge consequences last year when Jonathan Taylor. Now Jonathan Taylor did the old college thing. Like he literally, how they, for whatever, I don't know when this became a trend in college, but they will drop the ball as soon as they cross the goal line.
Yeah.
Well, he did that. It was worse, but of course he didn't cross the goal line. So Steichen got to talk to his team. Hey man, cut that out, cut that out, because now this is back-to-back seasons where we doing something this foolishness. I can imagine this happens on a Bill Parcells coach team, or well, one thing I know, if this happened on Belichick team, he'll be cut. He'll be cut. Belichick will cut them in a heartbeat.
Stay out of the locker room. Don't even go into the locker room and stuff.
So yeah, he's stacking this back-to-back season, man, with your players, and then that's A.D. Mitchell who did that. And then he had a huge holding call that nullified a big Jonathan Taylor play. So yeah, he didn't have a good game. Mitchell didn't have a good game last game.
Absolutely. Shout out to Anton again with another $5 super chat. The purpose of scoring the touchdown is having the ball cross the line. Amen. So again, even with the pros, they still get it wrong. Shout out to our guy KP from KC. I know he's a certainly a devoted Bengals fan, but it'd be unfortunate if he does get fired. I mean, your quarterback can't stay healthy, bro. I mean, so for the team to take that on coach. And Cincinnati, they're the ones who paid all the high prices for the wide receivers and whatnot. So, but again, I mean, bro just can't stay healthy. Is for what I'm seeing. But it'd be unfortunate that he if he loses, he's a pretty good coach. But and that defense, I mean, has been porous for years. So again, I don't know how much you want to put out that on him or on their draft and how they built his team and how much he has to do with that. But yeah, I don't see him being the problem in Cincinnati. But certainly appreciate you being here tonight. And so you can't draw back 50 times either. Yeah, definitely. And who do we have in the building? Salute to my man, Poppy Blanco. Hola, mi hermano. Good to see you in the house, man. Missed you a couple of weeks ago, man, because we were talking about boxing and we were talking about the fight with Crawford and Canelo. So I was trying to get you on. But certainly it's good that that you're back, and so yeah, I hope everything's going well with you as well. Good to see you. But yeah, defense is horrible. Front office spending too much money, and Joe Burrow is glass. Yeah, he's Mr. Glass. If you ever saw, was that Invincible, Unbreakable, that movie with Bruce Willis? He's Mr. Glass from Samuel L. Jackson's character from that film. But good to see you guys tonight. So moving on to the next game. So again. You have the Eagles keep winning, finding ways to win. Right. So again, the Bucks they were up pretty dominant. I know Baker Mayfield tries to execute a comeback in the second half to get them into the game. And again, it was indeed a tale of two halves. Here you had Jalen Hurts first half nearly perfect, 15 out of 16, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 for 8 in the second half. Compared to Baker Mayfield, but the guy still, the important thing is the W. We're going to contrast him with certainly another great player, which again this channel loves to celebrate all the time. So we'll do our comparison shortly. But Eagles just keep finding ways to win, and I know Shawnee again. I heard the little shade that you gave earlier that they're kind of sneaking, finding ways to win and whatnot. But again, your thoughts. On the Eagles, is Jalen Hurts still just an average quarterback, or is he a winning quarterback in your views? In your view after this,
Jalen Hurts has always been a winning quarterback since he's been in the league. It's just Jalen Hurts. You see, it's hard for me to put, especially when you look at Jalen Hurts' number, because this stuff is not unusual for Hurts. Maybe like them second half stats, he doesn't have typically an offer. But if you go back and look at many of Hurts' games, it's not like he's lighting anybody up, but he has a good team with him. So it's just like, okay, he wins. That's the main thing to do is winning. I believe the Buccaneers could have potentially won this game, but Mayfield he made a bad throw when it was at the red zone. I don't know why. It was first down. If he didn't have nothing, but he tried to force I don't know. It was a bad throw. He just could have just thrown the ball out of bounds and tried again because I believe Bucky Irvin and they by that time Buccaneers offense was clicking. And he tried to force something and it was intercepted at the goal line. So it was a bad throw. But Jalen Hurts is a winner, but it's hard for me to put Hurts up there with the other, because I guess you got to look at it. Many times, if you look at the Eagles' wins, I can look at their wins and say they won this game but not really from Hurts. I guess you look at it and say because he didn't turn the ball over, maybe they were playing a field position battle. Some games, but then he'll turn around and then he will have it. Like his big games, like he had both Super Bowls he played in, he lit it up. But I can just look at too many Jalen Hurts games and just say, they won this game, but why did they win this game? Well, it wasn't because of Hurts. Maybe because of running back.
See, you say that, but see, they're not even running the ball. I mean, Saquon doesn't even have a 100-yard game this year.
They not running the ball effectively, and they apparently not throwing the ball effectively because that's why A.J. Brown's so pissed off or whatever mood he's in because he's not. That's a different one. They won the game versus the Rams because special teams. Then they won the game versus the Buccaneers again because they scored a touchdown because they blocked a punt. Special teams has been delivering for them and giving them extra possessions, or in this case, giving them touchdowns. They ran, which was that's a freakish actually. Jordan Davis, you know, if y'all remember that blocked field goal and how big that dude is, but how fast he was running down the field for that touchdown. That's a freakish athlete. But their special teams has been coming through, and then we look at the end of the game, and all the credit goes to Jalen Hurts. I put it like this before I give it to coach. Generally, and it's weird, generally when we see a good quarterback performance, we always team to pair him up with the head coach. Even with Mahomes, Andy Reid, Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh. Like we always bring their head coach, but for whatever reason, the Eagles was talking about Hurts makes me think of another question. Do we really underestimate Nick Sirianni? We do not. We give Hurts all the credit. We forget to mention Sirianni. We don't even bring his name up to the plate. But we always give all the, no matter how Hurts performs, if the Eagles come out with a win, Hurts get all the credit. Even though Hurts, in this case, he didn't complete a pass in the second half. But Hurts get all the credit, but we're not looking at none of the special teams or Sirianni. So I don't know. It's just weird with the Eagles, man. But if they win, 100% credit goes to their quarterback in any shape or form or fashion. But everybody else, they just, even if a running back runs 2,000 yards in the season, it goes to Hurts.
All right, Coach, you get in first. I'll follow up, man. I don't understand. I'm like, and I see the lively discussion. So we got Poppy and KP from KC. Certainly not on the Hurts bandwagon. Trey obviously is as I am. So again, I don't know where this falls, Coach. What's your thoughts on Hurts and whatnot, and this whole discussion here?
I expect Shiny to talk bad about Hurts, man, because Dak is good, but
it's not like I'm talking bad about him. I just don't put.
Hold on. I let y'all
you
go.
long stroked it, yes. Coach has the floor.
For 14 hours about the Cowboys and they feeling. Listen, the fact that Jalen Hurts, yes, he's not putting up the glamorous quarterback numbers, right? But yes, he's very good with controlling the ball. He's a good runner. If he can give me 15 touchdowns a year, I'll take it. Now, again, the offense will pick up. And that's how good they are. If you have a defense and everybody's playing, your special teams are playing good, that proves that you're one of the better teams right there. Everybody else hoping to win a game. They playing sluggish. Philadelphia, the only problem is their offense ain't really running up the numbers. But as the season go, I think they're going to blow this team out coming up, maybe about 5 touchdowns. The coach is matured. He's a little bit more relaxed on the sideline because he's cost them. Everybody's been growing. I think, and with old boy getting tossed early in the season, I think it put him in a better focus on defense because right now you see their defense is winning the games. And Shaquan go get his 1,000, maybe 1,500 when it's all over. I'm telling you, don't panic. Stop panicking.
Yeah. And I don't get this. I mean, these comparisons. They're comparing them to Alex Smith and Rich Gannon. None of those. Do those guys have a Super Bowl? Have they been to more than one Super Bowl? And how did they perform when they were in the Super Bowl? So, I mean, the guy's MVP of the last Super Bowl. He could have been an MVP if he won the last one. He just got outdueled by Mahomes. Bottom line is, whatever situation it calls for, he performs. If he needs to be a passer and all that kind of stuff, he can do it. If he needs to just manage the team, he can do it. So I don't understand these comparisons to guys who haven't even sniffed the success that the guy's had in his career. I don't understand it myself. So yeah, Brad Johnson. I mean, come on. I mean, some of these guys. I mean, it's insulting.
Yeah, I won't compare him. But I mentioned this, coach. Remember, just not last season, but the previous season, because the Eagles had a talented squad then. Their receiving core is still the same. Their offense can and has shown that it will just disappear. Remember, that's how they lost them 6 games or whatever, straight games toward the end of the season. So we've seen this before. Last year,
So, Shawnee, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
You don't think that's play calling because the head coach called them old dumbass passing plays on first down?
No, it wasn't.
You run your star running back first or second down, he gonna get you 5 yards within 2 down. Then you can run a play action or a screen, anything. They trying to pass 20 yards down the field on first. That's not a winning formula to me. And the fact that they're able to move the ball, but then it just comes to a stall. To me, Jalen Hurts, he needs to improvise. They need to give him the green light to improvise in the offense. And I think you'll see a better offense because the coach sometimes they just a talented team.
Yeah. And the coach has a strategy of just winning games, which, we certainly want to get into, I guess, the side note to the Eagles so far. So again, but I do think it's insulting, guys, when you want to throw Rich Gannon and Alex Smith and these guys in the conversation with Jalen Hurts. That's insulting, in at least in my view.
I wouldn't put him in that. But what changed last year was Saquon Barkley. Again, before Saquon Barkley.
And Saquon got all the credit. You say Jalen Hurts got all the credit last year. No, clearly Saquon was the difference last year, and he got most of the attention and whatnot. But again, in the Super Bowl, it was clearly Jalen Hurts who definitely stepped up and delivered in a big way.
But I'm just mentioning their offense has went through this funk before. A.J. Brown doing the same exact thing that he's doing now. He'll just be disgruntled, even though it's a quiet disgruntled. I want to say disgruntled, cryptic, because you got to read into it, all this stuff. But you can tell he's not happy. I just say that.
Right. And again, I think that goes to the coach because the coach doesn't care how it gets done. He's not concerned with your stats. He's only concerned with winning. Now, again, do you think the Eagles at this point in time, you're Super Bowl champion and whatnot, is it time to move away and maybe get some draft capital for an A.J. Brown? We already got Tyreek Hill is out. Tyreek Hill is out for the season. The Giants, even though you don't want to necessarily make a trade in division, but certainly the Giants did it with the Eagles a couple years ago. Do you get rid of, Giants are clearly going to need a number 1 receiver, and you have a rookie quarterback. Would you run that back and have, do a trade in division with the Giants, send AJ to New York, and get him out of your locker room if he's going to be that disgruntled, whereas the Giants are going to be looking for a big-time wide receiver because their guy is hurt. So I think that could work. But do you stay with A.J. Brown or do you ride this out?
I gotta stay with A.J. Brown. It got to be a point because because think about it, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts are close, so you expect them to click.
But we saw this debacle a couple years ago, right? I think they were like 10-1, and then they had that turmoil down the stretch. So again, if this is wearing, even after winning a Super Bowl, even though you're 4-0 and you're still going to be disgruntled, you're going to hit some sort of hard patch at somewhere point.
I heard this. I can see why A.J. Brown is feeling the way he is. Because A.J. Brown is an elite receiver, and we talking about the struggles, I guess you could say, about the Eagles' offense right now, the stickiness they're going through right now. A.J. Brown, in his mind, is like, if you can just make me a focal point, and Jalen Hurts is targeting him, but if I can really be a focal point, because receivers see other receivers. He sees Puka Nacua. He sees before the injury, how Justin Jefferson was, even last year with Darnold. if you could just get me the ball, it can ignite this offense. And then we could potentially be going back how we looked last year. It can ignite it. So I can understand what AJ Brown, because he's an elite receiver. So the thing about all elite receivers, pretty much, they want the ball because they believe they are the answer. Many times they are. They are the answer to ignite that offense. You get AJ Brown heavily involved. Also, he'd be the playmaker. Now defenders start worrying about him. Bam, here come Barkley. So he's saying, I can ignite us back. So I can see that, but I don't. They gonna have. If I'm the Eagles, I'm gonna say you got to.
But that's play calling because just like San Fran used to do with Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown, the same type of player. You can mix it. You ain't got to get him hit with the pass. Hit him with some of them quick reverses, and you know what I'm saying. That's getting him involved in the game early. You know, give him about 3 or 4 touches coming around that end on a sweep real fast.
Only thing about Brown, like I say, they close. Him and Jalen Hurts are close friends, but he is playing for a quarterback. Jalen Hurts. Now we talking about just winning. Jalen Hurts don't care. he like, I see you struggling. I would try to get you the ball, but my main focal point is winning. So that means it's not coming to you, and I got to go to the other side to Devontae Smith. That's what I'm going to do. Or if we don't play field battle, that's what we're going to do.
You don't think the coach would tell him not throw it to him? Man, the coaches talk to the quarterbacks too, because he, you know, to me, it's play calling, man. You have a player like that.
He is targeting him though. He is getting targeted.
But the passes are in the ground. A lot of them are off target.
That's on Hurts.
So to me, it looks suspicious because the quarterback don't want to have you don't want to have your throwing percentage low. We talk about, well, if you're throwing 40, 50%, Cam Ward got 50% percentage. I'm like, oh man, God, that ain't no. So as a quarterback, you want to be on target. And the fact that a lot of the passes are off, I just look at it a little different, you know. Because I'm looking at trying to win, and I don't want my and I know he needs to be involved so I can run some sweeps. I can do those things early, especially early in the game, because they're gonna need him.
Would you? So, coach, so you're sticking with AJ Brown despite the noise?
Yeah, I'm sticking with him because he's a top 10 receiver in the league. I'm sticking with him.
Now, okay. He goes too far.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
He hasn't said anything. He hasn't really said anything.
That's what I'm saying. It's cryptic level now.
But that's people nitpicking. He's reading the book. Hell, he's trying to keep his mind, you know, at a relaxed state. If more players did, they'd be all right.
He's doing that on purpose.
Get him the ball. Yeah, letting him see. I need
players that bring a book.
All right. Well, let's move to everyone else's favorite quarterback in this league. So obviously, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs handle business against the Ravens. Again, the game was pretty much. I know Lamar Jackson, gets hurt in the second half, but the game was pretty much out of reach at that point. So again, this could be where we start to see Kansas City start to get healthy, because I know Worthy and those guys are coming back. So maybe they might be riding the ship and starting to make a run. But again, you have the stat comparisons here. So again, Lamar Jackson, again, not a great game. Mahomes, again, being classic Mahomes, 4 TDs, 273. Again, the stat that I want you guys to see here, again, Chiefs 22 halftime lead, cruising to their 7th win in the past 8 games against the Ravens. All right, so again, it seems like, is this just like Jordan stopped the Knicks and Portland, all those teams from winning? Lamar he has I guess it's in his mind he can't get over Mahomes and the Chiefs. So I don't know. He's not going to be, in my mind. He can be. I know he's got the MVPs, but he's not going to be in my view, he's not going to be a great quarterback. And I would still pick Jalen Hurts, despite the noise in the chat. I'm still picking Jalen Hurts over Lamar Jackson until Lamar can show me that he can win in a big spot. So, what's your thoughts so far on the Ravens? And we talked earlier about their defense being very porous. Can't hold a lead. Lamar, he's put up some decent stats with the exception of this game so far this year. But again, in the big moments, the big moment with Buffalo, rematch of last year, couldn't win. Looked pretty pedestrian in this game. So, again, I don't know why all this love for Lamar, even though his resume and his record in the big games doesn't show it. So what would you rather have, the stats or the wins? I'm taking Hurts in this particular situation. And so, but your thoughts on the game and where Lamar also, it looks like he's going to be out for a couple weeks, it looks like. So 2 or 3 weeks, got a hamstring injury, and obviously we know that he tends to use his legs. So they're definitely going to rest him. They're not going to force it. But but yeah, your thoughts so far on the Ravens, on Lamar Jackson, and where do they go? Where do they go from here? Because coming into the season, everyone was like, yeah, they're shooing to reach at least the AFC Championship. I'm not seeing that this year with this team, and I think Lamar is a part of that, and it's why they won't get there.
Yeah, I know we're talking about Mahomes and his stats that he put up, but I don't think, I want to say this offensive performance, this game, even with some of his receivers coming back, is potentially a flash in the pan for the 2025 season. I don't see the Chiefs offense as dominant as it was during the Tyreek Hill, mainly because the downgrade play of Kelsey and what we was just talking about with the Cowboys. And I mentioned the point that the Cowboys has the number one offense, but they dead last in defense. And that defense is giving up, over 30 points a game? Well, guess what defense is right above them? And that's the Ravens. The Ravens defense has been giving up these. You saw what the Cowboys defense would look like when they made Cam Williams, he had 4 or 5 touchdown passes. Ravens defense is doing the exact same thing. So I can't look at this game with the Chiefs and Mahomes going 4 touchdowns because Ravens defense and Cowboys defense are twins. One thing, basically, if you fantasy football players, you start the opposing quarterback versus their defense. You know they're going to get at least 3 touchdowns. They're going to go off. So I can't look at that game and say, and it's kind of, just blasphemy to say about, because you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, but we haven't seen the Chiefs offense look like this in over 2 seasons. But it's a reason why we saw that this past week versus that team. That's a bad defense. So, and it just got worse. Roquan Smith is going to be out, and I believe one of the D linemen is going to be out. So they're about to get worse. So, yeah, I won't be surprised the next game. I don't know who the Chiefs play next week, but you might see them going back to normal. Maybe they barely score 20 points, if that. When it comes to, because Lamar Jackson, I think I mentioned it last week. Lamar Jackson in the regular season. I know he's hurt right now with the hamstring, and that's an iffy injury. You don't know when you can come, especially for a quarterback who is so elite with his legs. You don't know what type of effect that may have when he ultimately comes back. But he's like LeBron. You don't even worry about the regular season with him anymore. You just strictly wait till the postseason get here. So Lamar, and then you comparing Lamar's postseason with Jalen Hurts' postseason, and Jalen Hurts obviously has shown more productivity in the postseason. So if we get to that point, I was like, I may have to take Hurts too, because Lamar, I don't know, your MVP status that you do in the regular season just drops. Like you down there with Dak and his postseason numbers. That's how big of a drop you make. So, yeah, but as far as that game and the Chiefs, I'm going to have to take that performance with a grain of salt, strictly because of the defense they went against. And we just talked about how terrible the Cowboys defense. And literally the defense that's right above the Cowboys, number 2, 31 is the Ravens. So it's like, and just get more specific real quick, Cowboys giving up over 420 yards a game. Ravens giving up just over 400 yards a game. So they terrible.
Coach?
Yeah, man, I agree with Shawnee, man. The Ravens, as far as, I don't know, man, they had one of the high scoring average so far, and the defense is giving up 30 points, and they're giving up points at the wrong time, like the last 7-8 minutes of the game. Teams are driving down 60, 70, 80-yard drives on them. And, I guess it's something with age or not being aggressive. As far as Lamar, man, I've been watching his last few weeks, man. He's reckless with the ball sometimes. I think he gets in his emotions when it doesn't go his way. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think he's playing hurt. I don't think he's really injured because they showed some video of him today working out, and he didn't look like he was injured to me. But again, we'll see how they rate it come game day. But yeah, he ain't look hurt to me. But I think he quit, out of frustration. And that's a sign of, that's not a good sign of a leader. But from what I saw from the game, and then the video, it's like the cameras wasn't out in the open. It's like somebody was hiding in the cut. I'm like, now see, look at that. But yeah, he didn't look like he was hurt.
So you said something pretty damning. He quit?
Well,
you think he quit?
Yeah, he was frustrated, man. He wasn't doing nothing. He was, making back throws and, but we'll see, man. They got away from the run. They try to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. You have to run the ball. You still got to give Derrick Henry his 18, 19 touches with the ball. They tried to match Patrick Mahomes. You can't do that. Not in Kansas City. No, you got to neutralize the run defense.
But Coach, what about this though? You may want to run the ball, but your defense will not allow. They will take that away. If your defense is literally giving up touchdowns down every time they touch the field, unless you can keep up scoring, they're going to put the pressure. That's the exact position the Cowboys are in. You literally have to score a touchdown every time you touch the ball, because if the defense keeps going, then ultimately they're going to take away. The Ravens are taking away their run game. They can't run the ball because they're chasing.
No, Shawnee. But also as a running back, I can go 75 yards down the field. I ain't got to pick up the big play every time. I potentially got 2 running backs on the field every time with Lamar and Derrick Henry. That's all I'm saying. I got one of the best tight ends. I got some pretty decent receivers. You get Derrick Henry those first and second down. If that big 6'5" can't pick up 5 yards within 2 running plays, then he shouldn't be. I'm just saying you have to mix it up, especially now. Even though you got to get him 15, 20 touches and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. People try to keep up with him. Keep him off the field.
Well, you could keep them off the field, but just your defense that's keep giving them touchdowns.
I would love to play against one of y'all teams, boy, because, boy, y'all wouldn't
see because you – I don't know how you can keep running the ball when your defense is constantly giving up touchdowns. But, Coach, how can you –
if I'm on offense, we running, we stalling, we know our defense is
scrubbing. But you better guarantee that you able to score. Because if you don't, your defense gonna give up a touchdown. Now you chasing them, so you can keep running the ball. But what happens when you run the ball? You use more clock.
But see, I'm saying run the ball, replay. No, first and second down, they throwing lateral passes for 2 yards. I can run the ball for 2 yards. I can do that.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5. Okay,
but it's
now
like they can only do that towards the beginning of games, because if they don't score. They defense gonna give up, and then now what you gonna do? Now all you gonna have to do is throw the ball.
No, you gotta mix it up. Still, watch the team. Watch Philadelphia. They run, pass, run, pass. You just mix it up. Is all I'm saying. And they have another running back outside of Henry, because people are gonna key on him. So you play action. That's when you do it. They trying to just run spread offense. Doesn't work. Doesn't work, especially away games. Besides, the fumbles, you can see that they was playing well on offense, but when you try to keep up with Patrick Mahomes, it ain't gonna happen. You're gonna lose.
I've seen it firsthand. I mean, I saw when the Cowboys played the Packers in that playoff game. I mean, if your defense give us 7 straight touchdown drives, it's going to be a shootout. The only way you can keep up with them is passing.
I know you didn't play football, so I get it.
So I just don't know how you can keep running the ball.
I'm not saying keep running the ball. You got to run the ball at least 15, 20 times in the NFL. You have to. You have to mix it up. I'm not saying every down. No,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you're saying that, but I'm saying with the Ravens, they try to run the ball, but ultimately as the game goes, their own defense take their own ability to run the ball away because their defense can't stop nobody. So now you forcing your offense to play. Now I say this, if the offense has to protect the defense, you run the ball, but you have to score because if it's like a failure if you get a field goal. If you don't get a touchdown, you already know your defense is going to give up a touchdown. So it's like it's damn you do, damn if you don't. But the offense has to protect the defense, but it's like a failure if they don't get the ball to the end zone. Even if they just get 3 points, because you already know as soon as the defense comes on the field, they're going to give a touchdown.
It's not a failure. 3 points is 3 points. It's not a failure because, again, you're keeping one of the hottest quarterbacks in the past 8 years in the league off the field. And I'm not saying run the ball. No, you have to mix it up. You have to. You can run those passing plays every time, but eventually the defense will start making adjustments and they'll start blitzing. And we see when you have no run, you just draw everybody up in the box. So you have to run, do some play actions, all I'm saying. 15, 20 times a game, you have to. Especially you from the 40-yard line to your 40 to the other team's 40, you should just be trying to work on your run game. Then before you get to the 25, say within the 40 to the end zone, you might throw a couple of quick hits up the sideline. But, I would love to coach against some of y'all. It'd be a great game for y'all.
Last point in the NFL. Again, we got Thursday night tomorrow. We got San Francisco with the Rams. Both of the teams 3-1. The Niners will be out of without Purdy again and Pearsall. So who you guys pick? For that game. Again, I thought Rams were very fortunate to win last week with the Colts debacle. I'm not necessarily sold on the Rams. I know you guys seem to be a little bit high, but who you got tomorrow night?
Oh, the Rams. I mean, Rams is just one block field goal away from being undefeated themselves. So the Rams are legit, and they're besides the quarterback, they have a young defense. I say that, but the Rams are a very good team. I mentioned the Lions are the hottest team, I believe, in the NFL, but the Rams, because I put it like this: when you look at the Eagles when they play against a team, you can say, okay, the Eagles are the better team majority of the time. But when you watch the Rams play the Eagles, it's like these two teams, like the Rams keep up with them. They bring the hat to the Eagles. So it's like I'm high on the Rams. I believe Matt Stafford is criminally underrated. I don't know why that dude. People don't talk about him. He is. We sit here talking about Jalen Hurts and whatnot. Matt Stafford is the same way. He shows up in big games too. But I guess when he went West Coast or he played the early season in Detroit, he just went to the abyss. Nobody talk about him. But Matt Stafford has an excellent career. He lights it up both regular season and postseason when they get there. Now, the only thing about him, he's getting up there in age, so sometimes his body can be his biggest distracting. But, yeah, I got the Rams. I believe. Who is it, Rams and 49ers?
Yeah, Rams and it's going to be in L.A., so.
Oh, yeah, but NFC, I got the Rams, but the thing about the NFC West, they do play each other very well. Yeah, they do play each other very well. They just cannibalize each other sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving on from the NFL. So obviously we got certainly the MLB playoffs again. I know we don't talk a lot about baseball this year. A lot of these series got evened up. So I know the Yankees evened it up tonight barely, but the Cleveland-Detroit series tied at 1-1. San Diego's tied 1-1. L.A. and Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's up 2-0 so far, but L.A. seemed pretty dominant with the offense. They won their opener 10-5, starting out with. So, like I said, I watched the Yankee game yesterday, and the only thing I could really think about was essentially the next topic. I'm not going to go too far into a lot of these matchups, but certainly we have an MVP conversation going on. But I'm looking at this. This was something I saw from last year. And I'm thinking, the way you guys wax poetic about Lamar Jackson, could Aaron Judge be in a similar category? This was an article written that says, unfortunately, he's basically, Aaron Judge, Lamar Jackson of MLB. Already he has MVP type numbers this year. They're saying it's going to be between him and Carl Raleigh of Seattle. Raleigh's got 60 home runs, but again, Aaron Judge, he won the hitting title this year, 53 home runs. Again, he's a shoo-in for 50 and 120 like every year. But just as we saw last year both in the playoffs, it wasn't him who performed in the playoffs. It was Stanton that got him to the World Series, and he was a no-show in the World Series. So far in this series last night, he had his opportunities. He's got it. I think he's got 4 singles in this series so far, but really hasn't showed up in the big spot. So, question, the only thing I was thinking about last night is this a fair comparison? Lamar Jackson, he has the MVPs. He balls out. He puts up the crazy statistics. You guys showed me a couple weeks ago that he's the best passer / runner combination ever. Aaron Judge, again, a perennial MVP candidate. But again, until these guys deliver in the big spot, in the big moment, is this a fair comparison? Comparing Lamar to Aaron Judge, they great in the regular season, but when you need them the most in the big games, they tend to fizzle out. So, what's your thoughts on is this fair to make this comparison? I know they're 2 different sports. I get that, and with NFL, you need all 22 guys playing on the same note. But baseball, it's you and the pitcher. And Aaron Judge necessarily hasn't shown up. So your thoughts on this comparison? I do think he will win MVP this year. I think he's just got the more complete resume,
I think
and whatnot. So again, he's a Hall of Famer. Both of these guys, I think Lamar's going to be a Hall of Famer one day. I think Judge is certainly a shoo-in for a Hall of Fame if their careers stop right now. I think both of them probably be Hall of Fame talent. But again, your career is not just about the stats; it's about the big moments, and this almost gets back to the Jalen Hurts conversation. Again, when he's in the big moments, he delivers, win or lose. He's there. So, your thoughts on this comparison between the two? Is this fair, or do you think that it's out of bounds?
I think it's extremely fair because, like I mentioned, when I talk about Lamar, I'm just not looking at his win. I'm looking at Lamar Jackson's stats. Like, the biggest thing that people love to talk about Dak Prescott because he struggles in the postseason. Lamar's stats is literally down there with Dak Prescott as far as the postseason. And Lamar is doing what Aaron Judge does in the regular season. He's a perennial MVP. He has 2. He could have had a strong chance to be a 3-time MVP winner. So he puts up regular MVP numbers in the race, just like Aaron Judge. I mean, Aaron Judge, again, is in the race. I believe he's going to Cal Raleigh this year because them 60 home runs, they love that. But he's a top 2 candidate for MVP this year in the AL. But when you just looking at that general comparison, you literally looking at 2 players who dominate their respective sport in the regular season. And okay, a lot of the great ones do. They dominate in the regular season, and you see it transfer to the postseason. But we not even get half of what they do in the regular season and the postseason. They drop. Aaron Judge is hitting like he's the 9th hit of the lineup.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson, he's playing like he's Cam Ward. So it's like that's the drop off that we see from regular season to playoff, and both of these players be doing that. So, and you look at him, like you just have to give them both the benefit of the doubt that any given postseason. Unfortunately, the Yankees won today. I mean, as an Astros fan, I don't like it, but you just have to give them the benefit of the doubt because both of them, their respective talent is so great. You be like, oh, damn it, this postseason it has to click. Something has to, because you can't, Aaron Judge, you can't sit here and go give me 60, 62 home runs in the regular season, and all of a sudden when you go in the postseason, they just disappear. Like you like the Space Jam, the little damn, somebody took the aliens' talent away all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson, the same exact thing happened to you. You running all over the place, scoring touchdowns, throwing the ball, running the ball. Next thing you know, we're looking at your passer rating. You never was a turnover magnet in the regular season. Now you're getting turnovers in the postseason. All of this stuff, just you getting Space Jam. Your talent just gets sucked away, zapped away from you immediately. And Lamar Jackson, your wins came against teams that was not on your level. You beat a Houston Texans team last year with a second-year quarterback. It's just a young team trying to get up. They nowhere near on your level. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's extremely fair, but their talent is so great. They have to click out of it, and I believe that's why we keep giving them many times the benefit of the doubt, because you look at this amazing talent, but for whatever reason it disappears when the postseason comes. You're on mute, Mr. Bennett.
Sorry, Coach. Fair or not fair on the Judge Jackson comparison?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair, especially over the last few years. They both start out strong, always in the top 2 or 3 for the MVP, and have great, warm weather seasons. It's like when October come around, the weather change, they just seem to freeze up or get caught up in, I don't know what the media is saying. It's something, but yeah, I think as far as being high profile, I think it's about the same. Baseball, I don't know, man. I would hope he perform a little better, Judge, because he is one of the best players, but Lamar,
and mind you, the Yankees got swept by the Dodgers last year in the World Series. So again,
they won tonight, though. They won tonight, and I don't think Judge played.
No, he did. No, he played. He got 2 singles. He was 2 for 4, 2 singles and an RBI. The last game he had 2 singles, but again, he had a chance in the bottom of the ninth with the tie. But again, I think he got a single, but they couldn't score. They got the first 2 guys on, and then they got 3 outs after that. But bottom line, again, just his whole career. I know he's had some injuries that he battled and whatnot. He's pretty healthy the last couple of years, but again, in the big moments, which is, again, at some point in time, we can talk about how talented these guys are, but you can't throw that component off, which is, again, while I would say that a guy as talented as Lamar is, I got to give it to Hurts. And not only for winning, and that's the thing I think some of the guys in the chat, they were talking about, kind of label almost like a game manager kind of deal. But again, in the big moments, Rich Gannon, even in the Super Bowl or Trent Dilfer or whatnot, they weren't putting up those kind of numbers. Again, even in the loss against Kansas City, Hurts would have been MVP had they won that. Had they won that game. It's just Mahomes got the last snap in the game, so he performs at the highest levels in the biggest moments. We're not seeing that from these guys. Not saying that they're not talented, they're not great players, they're not potential Hall of Famers. But at some point, you're going to be judged. You're going to have to deliver. And, as much as diehard as a Yankee fan that I am, certainly I'm not seeing that. And it's even worse for Judge for the same point that my man Anton is making. Thanks again for the $10 super chat. Aaron Judge is under serious pressure to see because he plays for the Yankees. The one thing he doesn't have to deal with is George Steinbrenner. That's even more of an indictment because, Anton, we grew up with George Steinbrenner. We knew the pressure that he had on the team, what he had on Reggie Jackson, even Derek Jeter. He was getting on him for partying too much, even though they were winning. So again, I mean, no, in fact, if Steinbrenner was still alive, this team might be broken up by now. Or you would see George a lot more in the press. So he doesn't have that. Hal Steinbrenner seems to want to stay in the background. Nobody, is criticizing anybody. The current coach is he's not going to say anything. No one's touching him. If that was Steinbrenner that was there, he'd be blasting his whole, especially after getting swept 4-0. In fact, the last time they got swept in the World Series 4-0 is the reason why George Steinbrenner went out and got Reggie Jackson back in '77. And brought him to the Yankees, and they won back-to-back World Series after that. That he was so irate with that he actually went out and got Reggie for that very reason because they got swept by the Reds, Big Red Machine. So that's even more of an indictment. You don't have that pressure, and you're still not performing. So again, I think he needs to, definitely needs to step it up. No one's slamming, the Yankees, but look, y'all got to deliver, Again, you barely won tonight. You got a game through, and again, all three of these games, which is different from in recent years, all three of these games are going to be in New York. So you got the ultimate home field in this series. You have no excuses. If they lose tomorrow night, again, an even greater indictment, especially since Aaron Judge, he's not performing at the level that that he needs to. And again, stop being so insulting either, because George Steinbrenner is not the Jerry Jones of baseball. Okay, I mean, got way more championships than he ever had. But I do say this. The Yankees had their greatest success in modern times when George Steinbrenner was suspended from the game. I'll say that much. And maybe if Jerry Jones would kind of go away a little bit, that maybe Dallas would do a little bit better. But it wasn't until he was out, because, again, he would have probably got rid of Jeter and Bernie Williams and Mariano Rivera and the catcher that they had, that core four guys. I don't know if they would have been able to develop. Probably would have traded them off to try to get a big time asset to come in. So again, the best thing that happened to the Yankees in the mid to late '90s and the early 2000s was when George Steinbrenner was out of the game at that point in time. So with that, certainly, and again, you can say that Lamar Jackson is better than Hurts. Show me in a big moment that you're better than Hurts. Show me a game that Lamar played in the playoffs that was better than Hurts' playoff runs, especially in the 2 Super Bowls that he played in. I'm not buying it. So again, but you guys on the Lamar bandwagon, keep being on it. Hurts, he's still gonna keep on winning and doing his thing. But
I'd say this real quick about Steinbrenner and Jones. Steinbrenner, he didn't get in the way of the Yankees winning. He was just obsessed, and by any means necessary, he wanted the Yankees to win. Jerry.
Hang on, how is he a great owner? Like, wait a minute, Poppy, how's he a great owner? He hasn't won in 30 years.
Who you talk? He said George.
He said George was a great owner. Like, I thought he said like Jerry. Yeah, like I said, Stein. Yeah, he was great, but he's that. But Jerry is no Steinbrenner. Okay,
Jerry is a great owner for what he did to the game. His like I mentioned,
Jorge. Thank you.
Steinbrenner was all about winning, and he didn't get in the way of the Yankees winning. He was
no, that's not true. No.
Well, he got he got in the way a lot. But he was all about winning.
Yeah.
Jerry, literally, they was winning, and Jerry is the main reason that they stopped winning. Steinbrenner, he wasn't perfect, but he was trying to win at all costs. And did it rub his team, or did it kind of have a negative reaction at times? Yes. Jerry, at the height of the Cowboys winning, is the main reason the Cowboys haven't won anything since '96. So that's the difference between them. Now, even if Jerry goes somewhere, you still got to deal with his son, and that's what I be trying to tell people. But oh well. But that's the thing. But yeah, I think I don't like the fact that the Yankees won this game. I want them to lose. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man. It's definitely a But again, they're squeaking by. Like I said, L.A. looked a lot more dominant. And their guys tend to show up. Ohtani, certainly those guys tend to show up in the big moments, just like they did last year. But we're gonna start to wind down the show. So getting into final thoughts. Certainly, going to keep the show relatively short this week. Missing our guy Dante again. Hopefully he's doing well, and hopefully we'll see you on the show next week. Another NFL week coming up, and maybe around midway point, maybe we start talking some college football, and kind of seeing where that goes. And like Alabama, I'm surrounded by all these Bama fans and whatnot. Now they all getting hyped up because now they cracked the top 10 in the ratings and whatnot. So I got to deal. Bama fans to me are worse than Cowboy fans in my humble opinion. But
that's all they have. They don't have no professional teams. Well, if they from the South, many of them from the South, they don't have no pro team down there besides the Falcons.
Right.
They ain't room for them.
Yeah, I heard that. So final thoughts, Shawnee. Anything you want to add before we close the show?
Well, mine I guess is about college football. I like the fact that the playoffs is allowing these teams to play each other. And now we're seeing these big time matchups versus, top 10 teams going with each other, versus each other. And it's delivering a real good college football season. Now, I was doing something this past weekend, so I wasn't able to watch the two big games, the Georgia, Alabama, and the Penn State, Oregon games. But still, but those are interconference games, so they was going to see each other regardless. But you wouldn't see no UT versus Ohio State game one and those other top 10 games like that. Now, with that, I do. Florida State is 3-1, right?
Yeah, they lost their last game.
Yeah, and I think they are turning the corner, and I believe there was another squad that was like in the same boat as Florida State, but they lost a big one, kind of feeling themselves a little bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying this college football season. Like I say, I'm loving the matchups. I guess right now the whole reconferencing is starting to show its worth. Like I said, we just had Oregon and Penn State. That is an interconference battle. And even though these teams are going cross country to play each other, and they still Big Ten, but we starting to see these games. TCU here locally, they were showing some good games, but when they lost to Arizona State in a late game Friday evening. But yeah, I'm enjoying the college football season so far because I'm really enjoying the matchups that we are getting, and the fact that it's not a weight that they have to be undefeated, so it's giving them more freedom to go play each other. So I'm liking that.
I gotcha. Real quick on the college front, I'm going to make a prediction. I don't know if Prime lasts beyond this year. In Colorado, I think the Prime effect, is wearing off, and I'd be very surprised if he stays coach of of Colorado past this year. He might have one more year left. If he doesn't turn around, either they let him go or he leaves. Because I think
they win their last game.
I just
I gotta see.
I don't think so. They might have, but I don't know if I don't know if he's I don't see the program ascending. I'll say that much, but certainly I think that's going to be a foregone. Now, as I just want to address, I wasn't going to say anything, but Poppy tells Shawnee not to fix his mouth. Talk about George. He's royalty in New York City, right along with Mariano Rivera and Jeter. Poppy, know your history, sir. George Steinbrenner was out of baseball when those guys were acquired. If he was there, you wouldn't have Jeter or Mariano or Jorge Posada or Bernie Williams. All right, so again, for all he's done, he also he did a lot to damage the team, getting rid of George for a couple years, and so he wouldn't tamper with everything. Allowed his GM at the time, Stick Michael, to build that core that allowed him to win those championships from 96 to 2000, really 2009, but certainly that stretch from 96 to 2001 to win those championships. So that being said, as always, we'll turn it over to Coach to always close us out, sir. The floor is yours. Coach, you there?
Look at this. It's freezing.
Seem like you seem like you're stuck, sir. You still with us?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Look like my video's freezing up, but no, man. Listen, man. This is a great time of the year, man. Again, man. It's first day of October. The weather's about to change now. Football teams are going to settle down. College, NFL. We got basketball starting in about a month, man. So if you haven't played sports, get out and play a little sports. Shoot a few jump shots. Learn how to hold a football like Derrick Henry does it. But again, man, it's going to be an interesting season, man. I have nothing, I'm not going to panic right now, So I know if you got a favorite team, you might be panicking, but just don't bet your money on them. You know, salute to the baseball players, man, because this is their time.
Heard that. Well, again, we want to thank you guys for being part of the conversation tonight. Poppy, Belanco, I'm going back and forth with you, but I really appreciate you being here. You're always welcome, certainly, in this space, as well as all the guys. KP from KC, hadn't seen you for a minute. Good to see you back in the conversation. Always, come on back and chat it up with us. Certainly appreciate you guys. Make sure as you leave the show tonight, make sure you hit the like button on the way out. And certainly enjoy the games, the pro games, the college games, the Major League playoffs that's going on right now. Just enjoy all of that. And, until we meet again next week, certainly for myself, Mr. Bennett, for Shawnee, for the coach, and for our guy in his absence, our guy, Dante. Until we see you guys next week, take care. God bless. And we will see you next time. Good night.
Peace.